Welcome to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $3 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
All right, here we are with another edition of Freed on Business. We're in my home office today, broadcasting live. We've got Elizabeth Irizarry on. Of course, I'm sure I butchered her name like I do with everybody else's, so she'll correct me after the break. We're going to talk about office of the future. This is the office currently. We know what the office in the past looked like. We're getting ready to go back. So we're going to talk with Elizabeth to talk about what corporately we would look for, what we could still have in our home office, and of course, what we could look for down the road in the future as we're all getting ready or already are back to the office. And then in the second half of the show, we'll talk about why you need to get off the couch and do your loan. Because you didn't think you were financeable, you better call me because you probably are financeable and rates are going up fast. It's time to get your loan. So, Mr. Mendoza, we'll toss it to you, then we'll bring it back with Elizabeth right around the corner. Regan. I just love that, Mr. Mendoza. Thank you so much for getting all the buildings that I've done in the picture this time. I really do appreciate it. Done billions of dollars worth of deals, all those condo inventory loans, all kinds of development loans, land loans, bridge loans, whatever. But that's not what we're talking about now. That's out of format. Right now, we talk about Warren Henry. I want to thank my friends at Warren Henry. They're so tremendous. Thank you so much, Samantha Wolf. Thank you, Larry Zinn. Thank you, Eric Day. Thank you, A.B. Cohn. Can't wait to see you all in a couple of weeks at Supercar Saturday. Mr. Mendoza may come with me as well this month. But hey, when you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry. Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar. They're all great cars, and they all come with the Warren Henry advantage. You can buy your car 151st and Biscayne, Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar. Up in Gainesville, Audi. Down in the Keys, everything. Going to get my Jeep down there. Can't wait. They're all great cars. They all come with the Warren Henry advantage. That's a whole list of great services you get, including the complimentary loaner car. They'll replace your really expensive keys. We just got our fabulous new QX60. Let me tell you, that is one tremendous car. And they've got the little dial on it so it can go and goes really efficiently where it sort of quiets down at the intersection. You can turn the dial and it stays going the whole time at the intersection. I think you know which one I use. Anyway, it's just tremendous. Really love it. Love the people. Want to thank Diego and the whole team over there for helping us out with the car. And remember, you got my mom. She's a member of the Warren Henry family. You got my wife. She's a member of the Warren Henry family. Me, lots of my friends, members of the Warren Henry family. Talked to one guy last night. He loves his car. Remember, always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry. That's right. You heard her. She's so right on. Everybody that calls you or that you reach out to at this point is qualified. Who are you going to do business with? Somebody you trust, that's compassionate and kind. In fact, that's why we have Elizabeth on. We only hang out with the best of the best. Had a great breakfast today with my good friend Jeff and a new client. The client was thinking about developing some land, maybe selling the land, maybe building the project and selling it. I said, build the project and keep it. It's a unicorn. That's what I do. I talk to families. I give them advice about how they should handle their real estate. Sometimes they take it, sometimes they don't. But we always work together as a team for one reason only. And that's because when you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
All right, we're on with Elizabeth Irizarry. She's a local blogger. She's also in the office equipment business. We'll get Elizabeth on. Elizabeth, welcome to the show. How bad did I butcher your name? I hope not too bad.
Hi, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here. Not so bad. It's Irizarry. It's a little hard, but you got it.
Oh,
I do it all the time.
I was just really soliciting your laugh and giggle. That's the best part of the show. So, Elizabeth, let's get it out of the way. Professionally, you're a blogger, and what else?
So I work for Empire Office. I'm the director of strategic partnerships. All that basically means is I handle new business.
Oh, that's tremendous. Well, you're in the right place for that. Everybody that listens to this show has an office. Now, everybody's been working at home. I live across the street from an office building, so I've seen now that people have been going back incrementally. About a few months ago when we moved in, the place was empty. Now Mr. Big seems to be there all night long. One guy gets there at 5 a.m. I can relate. I used to get to the office at 6. My brother used to get there at 6:30. So we can all understand why there's people. It's a reverse commute, whatever it is. Maybe they just feel safer. But what are some of the changes that we're going to see in the office beyond the acrylic glass barriers?
And frankly, that has already almost gone away. The acrylic glass is almost something that we never get a request for anymore. It happened to be that was a request for all of 2020. And some people were not willing to make those orders because they didn't think that they were going to go back to the office at all. And quickly that changed and office spaces were back. We're in Miami, so as everybody knows, it's been very, very busy here. A lot of companies are moving from New York, California, and all out of town, out of the country too, because we're here close to many other countries nearby. So it's been very busy, and a lot of the companies that are opening their office space are maybe considering less space to start, shorter lease terms, and so they're removing all the panels, all that acrylic junk, all that high panels. They're actually doing less of that. And they're using the office as more of a collaborative environment, a reason to attract their employees. Because as you know, there are all these new terms going around, like the Great Resignation and a series of like new things like trust recession. Like, I think there's always like a new funny term every day. I don't know how to catch up to them also. But the reality is that we don't know exactly what's going to happen. It's so ever changing with COVID. Early this year, there was another scare with a new variant. So some of the offices were closing because they thought it was infectious. 3 weeks later, all the offices were opening back. So all of our clients that were like, we're on hold or we're not returning back to the office for a few weeks, they all came back saying, we're back at full speed, place the order. So it's really hard to say that there's a one size fits all because there isn't. A lot of it will depend on the individual culture of that company. Mostly I deal with a lot of tech companies these days, fintech. And what we've noticed is that even within the tech industry, there are different verticals and each behaves differently. So if we're talking about like here locally, there's a VR AR company and they're a small young group of guys and they've grown, they've just got 5 million in funding and they've grown their office. And for them, it's actually very important to have physical office space. And that's because that's how they create the culture. Invite people to try on their goggles, experience the metaverse. Like it's all about the culture within the office. So like I said, it just really depends. It ultimately depends on the needs of that customer, their company, and what they're trying to exude. So when we stick to this hybrid model, it's so important to have considerations on what's going to happen to that 30% that's in the office and the one that's not. Is there digital transformation in place for that to actually be interactive? Because a lot of the times the people working from home feel excluded when they join in on a call.
So let's go back and talk about some of the things that you highlighted. I took a couple of notes. The AR VR firm, augmented reality, virtual reality firm, I got to believe that they have special needs. For instance, they got to have a room that's just absolutely white where people can go in and experience the metaverse. If they didn't walk into that completely vacant white room, they wouldn't understand how deep and elaborate the metaverse can be. What are a couple of other unique things that you've seen in fintech versus general tech?
Yeah, I think what happens is like they're less likely to want your traditional office setting. So when they come to you and you look at it, it almost looks like co-working. It doesn't look like anything is assigned. Like no one permanently works there. It's more of a space for gathering innovation. They want boards. They do a lot of scrum meetings, agile workplace. So like you have to make sure that that you include that in the design, that the conversation is based on how they actually work and interact with each other. So like with that AR VR company, they have all white, the whole office is white and the equipment is large.
Who nailed it? Okay, so then it used to be that flexible office space meant having a bunch of small desks with casters on the bottom. How has it changed? And we've only got a couple minutes before we go to break. So talk about how flexibility can be achieved in today's world. And then around the corner, we're going to talk about all kinds of other cool stuff you're doing.
Yeah, I think absolutely you don't need to have casters. I think that that's not necessarily the way to go. You could still have like unassigned spaces. So you could do a long community style table where that can be used as a conference table. It's finding furniture that could be flexible to serve different like purposes. And that's ultimately just the easiest solution, is designing it for like the general use. What is when you have everybody in here, how is it going to be used? Not designing it for one individual person.
Now we talked about the AR VR firm was all white. What are real colors that are in vogue? Is there something that people are looking at? Is it black and white? Is it pastels? Hold on. What is it?
Well, it's the year. It's Perry is the color of the year. It's very Perry.
What is that?
It's a purple color. So every year, like there's a new color of the year from Pantone. So this year it's actually like this purple. It's called Very Perry. But in Miami, we follow our own. That's it, pretty much. This year, though, like I will say, Miami follows their own rules, and it's all about brightness and color. So a lot of companies are very interested in Wynwood because of that.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled that they're interested in Wynwood. I helped to create it. So high five to all of us. No. Yeah, there you go. Boom. No, I was in Wynwood this morning we'll have to talk about it, from my temporary desk at Zach's underneath the Chicky Hut. It was tremendous. I have to interview you there one day. We're gonna have an office thing at the Chicky Hut. It's going to be tremendous. So we're going to be right back. I want to talk to Elizabeth around the bend about what other offices she works at that have Chicky Huts and picnic desks. So anything I can do to solicit that smile is what I'm going to be working on. There you go. So Mr. Mendoza, take it away. We're going to come back with Elizabeth. I'm going to say it bad again. Irizarry?
Irizarry.
Irizarry.
Yes.
You'd never know that I knew her from a while. So we're going to talk to Elizabeth right around the corner. We'll be back after this. Elizabeth, please stick with us. All right. There you go. Thank you. You did that one just for me, Mr. Mendoza. I totally appreciate it. When you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry, Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar up at 151st and Biscayne. Up in Gainesville, they have Audi. Down in the Keys, they sell them all. We just got our brand new QX60. Let me tell you, that is a tremendous vehicle. I love it. My wife has to pry the keys out of my hands. What do they all have in common? Well, they're all great cars, and they all come with the Warren Henry Advantage, which is a suite of services that you get, including, of course, complimentary loaner car if your car's in for service. They'll replace your keys. Those keys cost like $100 a throw if you lose them. Yeah, I know. I've lost them too. Rims, if you scratch your rims, they'll buff them up for you. Get that all the time because I'm a close parker. All kinds of other great things. Best price guarantee on your car, best price on the guarantee on your trade-in, and of course, if you don't like your car, you get 72 hours to return it. Guess what? Nobody exchanges their car. They love the car. So join me, my mom, my beautiful wife, Vivian, lots and lots of my friends. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price. Always the best service. Always Warren Henry.
Carlson from Carlson Integrated. You know, a lot of our clients find that they can do anything, but not really everything. We are always excited to jump in and help. So whether you need another set of hands for a project or even comprehensive marketing management, our team of marketing mavens would love to have a conversation with you to see if we are the right fit. We do everything from logo and design work to email outreach and social media to writing and thought leadership. And here's a fun one. We are now offering our fabulous ebook of top 10 marketing tips on our website for free. So head over to carlsonintegrated.com and grab a copy today. And please always let us know how we can help. My email is Becca, that's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com. That's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com.
You know, she brings that energy to everything she does. She makes me look good all the time. Rebecca Carlson gets high five. Give me a call. I was spending the morning with a family. Actually, it was the head of the family. We talked about the real estate they owned, what a great basis they had. Should they JV it? Should they sell it? Should they keep it? I said, keep it. It's a unicorn. Build it and keep it. You can't replace that deal. But we'll see what they do. Everybody has their own agenda, and I just wanted to give them a little bit of advice. If you'd like some feedback or comments or insight, give me a call. Done billions of dollars worth of JVs, land sales, everything. Getting ready to announce our new pref equity program, getting close on announcing, that's right, a new fund that we think we're going to be able to get to manage with a really cool idea behind it. So stick with us and stay tuned for more great information on all of that. But in the meantime, if you're working on something and you need some debt, some equity, some new eyes on the deal, give me a call or DM me. Why? You already know, because when you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
All right, this time I think we are back. And we're back with Elizabeth. I'm going to give it a shot again. Irizarry.
Yes, perfect.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you, Regan. Sorry about that. All right. You see, I think I have like sort of dyslexia. Once I see something, I just see it. And it's tough for me to go and redo that in my brain. We're here with Elizabeth. Elizabeth works with
Empire Office.
Okay, we're talking about the office of the future. They're providing office space to a lot of the companies that are moving to town. We're talking about what the difference between the high-tech company and the regular tech company are. We're going to talk about some of the other things that she's seeing in the office trends right now. Welcome back to the show, Elizabeth.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
It's my pleasure. Let's talk about fabrics. Okay, when I picked my office chair, they wanted to sell me leather. You'd think everybody would want leather. I didn't want leather because the leather had a seam in a place that was uncomfortable to me. So I got a fabric. The fabric looks dynamite, and you can't tell that it's not leather on the shelf. Oops. So it costs just as much as the leather. It's just tremendous. It's tremendous stuff. But, I'm building out my office. A lot of people are still going to build out their office now that they realize they're going to be hybrid from home. What are some of the things that you're seeing in highest demand for people that are WFH?
The biggest demand is actually height adjustable desks, because people are starting to realize that spending too much time on a desk that they maybe got online or at IKEA, it's not meant for like long sit. So the height might not be appropriate, and everyone is at a different, like I'm 5 feet tall, and then I have friends that are that are 6 feet tall. They can't be sitting at the same desk that I'm sitting at. So the height adjustable desk also gives you that feeling of flexibility. So you've been sitting for too long, you could at least stand up and take a call. Sometimes I actually do my video conference calls standing because it just gives me a different energy. And I'm able to connect differently, and it's also good for posture. So that's definitely the biggest.
Well, that's what we're going to get next. I got one, then I had to return it because it was a little bit messed up. But what I found is that they come with presets, and then you can also make them up and down. But the thing that was most important to me was the ability for it to drive power to my stuff that I need on my desk. Because when you look at your desk, you don't realize how much power it is. And today, everybody has like an average of 5 screens going at once. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. I have 5 right now. They're going. TV, iPad, monitor, this one, and of course, the old trusted and true, that one. How do you account for the fact that people have so many monitors and different video equipment that they use? Is there a specific setup that you recommend?
Yeah, we usually would consult and ask them all those questions. What are their day-to-day look like? What technology do they currently have? Are they taking video calls? All those things matter. Sometimes we overlook it, just get the desk set up in the chair and that's it. But in reality, we recommend getting monitor arms. There's actually a certain direction that you need to be staring at the screen. So a certain height level that you need to have to the center of the screen. So monitor arms keep it away from individual bases. You can connect multiple screens. You could have 6 screens, 3 screens, 2 screens, 1, but you put it up on a monitor arm so that you can adjust it to the height of your eyesight. So that's the number one, and it clears the clutter, honestly. And then you get one wire down the center to connect it all, and it's really simple. That's like
you're coming to my office. We're going to make an order. I got to just bite the bullet and do, well, what happened? Well, let's talk about what happened to me. Okay. So it's after the pandemic starts. I moved to a new place. I throw out all my old furniture, which is all pandemic-y and old placey, and I want to get new stuff. I call up, I call up Staples, right? Or actually, this was Office Depot. I walked in, I looked around with my wife. They didn't have what we wanted. The guy said, here, call our professional planner. Well, I called their professional planner in Dallas. She made sure everything worked, but it didn't. None of the stuff matched up in height. The credenza came in, the 2 things below it were 2 different heights, 2 different depths. It was just a complete disaster. I did return it. They did give me a full refund. They even gave me the $200 that I paid for the person to assemble it. So we're going to have a sit down. I personally need a couple of credenzas, one of the elevated desks. I want to get those arms you talked about. Now, here's a question I have for you. What about the curved screen? Why would somebody get the curved screen? And if I get the big, long curved screen, does that really act like 2 or 3 screens at once?
Not necessarily, and not everybody knows how to actually properly set up the larger curved screens to have a split screen. If you're personally not used to the split screen, it'll take a little while to get adjusted. So I almost recommend that you get like I'm in technology all day, but I prefer having multiple screens than one large screen because I can just treat each one individually and do different things on each one without feeling like I have to constantly tell one side of my personal screen what it needs to do. So I think that the curved screen is just nice. The quality is nicer. It helps you feel like you're wrapped versus staring at it straight. So that's just a preference.
Yeah, I just bought a screen, so I wondered what your thoughts were. I bought the flat one, not the curved one, because they don't have the big desk yet. But I think the next one will be the curved one, because I really do understand why you would feel like
surrounded
by, and immersed in what you're doing, which I think is very good for focus. How about lighting? What are you seeing on trends in lighting? Regan and I had the discussion, and you and I have 2 totally different light schemes behind us. You have very white and bright. Mine is more earth tone, and I actually have a couple different things. I made it a couple different colors, just because I thought it would be good eye candy for people that were looking. What do you think?
On a personal level, I prefer direct light. So there's actually very little light on in this room right now. I have a small little table light you can't see that is coming from the screen, and that's it. That's just to brighten the screen level. But I like the natural light because natural light is just good for mental health altogether. So that's something that I recommend, that if you have an office at home, that you want to try to have a direction where the light is next to you and you could see it while you're working, so that you could see the greenery, you could see the outdoor. It just makes a difference. So that's one of the things like I like to recommend, but a lot of people that are on calls, they don't want the distraction. So they want to be directly behind a solid wall. So it's very important that then at that point you have that mood lighting that isn't overly like distracting either, that will clash with what's behind you.
My personal opinion is I agree with you completely. I look straight out. I'm looking right now over Sailboat Bay into, I don't want to make everybody jealous. Suffice it to say it's gorgeous. So I agree with you completely. But I will say this, I've had a beautiful view wherever I've been blessed with that. And I've always found that no matter what the view, if I'm on the right phone call, I don't know what's going on around me. I'm just right there in the phone call, fully immersed, even though I don't have a curved screen. Mm-hmm. So, we've only got a couple of minutes left. What would be the tip that you would give to somebody that's considering redoing or refitting their office. Everybody wants to come back. Everybody wants people to come back to the office. And I think it goes beyond a pool table and a ping pong table.
Yeah, I think the important thing is to remember to focus on what the culture of your company is and what you're trying to instill. And if you're going to do a hybrid model, do research, speak with a professional, have them go through like your day-to-day, go through the programming of the different departments, how they interact with each other, do an actual study on that before you just buy furniture and place it in. You want to actually think those things through, because you want to make sure that you are like set up for the hybrid model, that the employees at home have the technology, and that physical space, the physical office, has the technology to invite those employees that are hybrid to collaborate. That's just, I would say, my tip. Just ask for help.
One other question, and it just came to me while you were talking about that. Mr. Big at the office, how about sending somebody out to the person's home to make sure they have the bandwidth and the setup that's required to be productive, rather than working off of your couch or your table? Have you been sent to different people's home offices to set it up, other than Mr. Big? Like not Mr. Big, but other people, or Mrs. Big and Miss Big, whatever.
Yeah, we're not sent directly to their offices, but companies have given an allowance to their employees. Google did it. They gave like $500 to $1,000 to employees that were working remote. So many companies have done that, where they've given them the allowance. The only thing is sometimes they don't want to be the liaison between what they get. Sometimes they do want to get heavily involved, and they'll say, hey, everybody is getting this. Send your address. So it would take a lot of time to go on an individual case by case. So it's important that if you receive an individual allowance, that you go out and you send pictures of your space and you measure it out. So a lot of people were doing that. Sometimes the budget wasn't enough, so they weren't able to get a lot, but at least they were able to get a nice desk or a chair, which those are the two most important things that you need, is a desk and a chair.
I got the chair.
Yeah.
I got the chair. I need the desk. I need a couple of credenzas. Hey, you know what? I need you. So Elizabeth and I are going to go off. Elizabeth and I are going to go off, and we're going to talk about what I'm going to get into my office probably tomorrow, because it's a crazy day today. But I want to thank Elizabeth. I'm going to roll it again. Irizarry. High five to me. Elizabeth, I want to thank you so much. Name of your company and how people find you again.
Empire Office. You can find us at empireoffice.com. We have a showroom in Hollywood, Florida, so not too far up the street. So if you want to find me, you can find me also on LinkedIn, Elizabeth Irizarry. I'm easy to find. And we also have an Instagram, Empire Office.
I can't wait to abuse your Instagram account with all of my new great stuff that we're going to get. I may even venture out of my little abode and come to your showroom one day and do a little bit of a live walk around. Wouldn't that be fun?
We would.
All right, Elizabeth. Oh, well, I think we already rolled it. I think I'm going to try to do that. Elizabeth, I'll give you a call in the next couple of days. We'll do it around. I'll flip you the copy. We love cross-branding with your podcast. Congratulations on having it now for over 2 years, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Local podcaster and local interior office designer, Elizabeth Irizarry, thank you so much to you and to Empire Office for being on our show today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim.
All right, Mr. Mendoza, you know the next step. Oh, we were doing the inside chat. I was telling Elizabeth how great she is. Maybe she'll hang out with us and participate in the next segment too. I'm sure she has questions she'd love to ask Ed if she wants to hang around. You're more than welcome. That's great. We'll bring you right back on, Elizabeth. You're tremendous. And Mr. Cairo's in the bullpen as well. So I better get cracking. I want to thank our friends at Warren Henry. Thank you to Larry. Thank you to Elizabeth. Oh, Elizabeth. No. Thank you to Larry. Thank you to Samantha and the rest of the team at Warren Henry. May, my service writer, I can't thank her enough. She keeps us going. Remember, if you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry. Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar up at 151st and Biscayne. Down in the Keys, they sell everything. Up in Gainesville, They sell Audi. What do all those cars have in common? Well, they're all great cars, and they all come with the Warren Henry advantage. It's a whole long list of things that you get when you buy your Warren Henry car, and it includes obviously a service loaner. They'll replace your keys if you lose them. If you scrape your rims, they'll polish them up for you, and they'll guarantee you get a great price for your car. They'll guarantee that you get a great price on your new car. And of course, you get 72 hours to make sure you like that new car. If you don't, you can trade it in. Nobody trades it in. They love those new cars. So join me, my mom, my beautiful wife, Vivian. She's the one that got the brand new QX60. What a great vehicle that is. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price. Always the best service. Always Warren Henry. All right, you want to choose kindness and you still want to do a real estate deal? Well, there are very few options. One of them is to call me. I was with one of the family patriarchs today. We talked about what he wants to do with his land. Should he build the apartments? Should he get it upzoned? Should he flip it now? Should he flip it later? All kinds of considerations. What I told him was you should get it upzoned and then build it and keep it yourself. It'll become a unicorn that you'll love to have and give it to your kids. I think he may just consider that. So if you're looking to make a decision, your family member or just a real estate operating company in general, give me a call. I have my own pref equity programs that we're getting ready to announce. We're also going to have a new fund that I'll be managing that we're going to announce in the next couple of weeks. So there's all kinds of great reasons to get together and do business. Reach out to me, call me, DM me. Remember, whenever you reach out to me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
All right, our next guest is my partner in the residential mortgage business, Ed Cairo. We're getting him teed up and getting his electronics working. We also have Elizabeth, who's stuck with us. Why don't we bring Elizabeth back while you and Ed are getting finished up, Regan? Hi, Elizabeth. Thanks for sticking with us. We really do appreciate it. And what we're going through is pretty commonplace when people work from home. Is there a way that you guys can hook people up with the right technology provider when they work from home also?
Yeah, we typically have some providers that we've used in the past. They're partners, and so we'll recommend them. But obviously, when it's at home technology, sometimes they have their own preferences. But typically, we deal mostly with a corporate office setting.
Okay. Hey, Regan, Ed's not having his audio work. Can he do it on the phone and just be video with us? Okay, well, we'll get all that set. The bottom line is that Ed and I have been working on the mortgages now for, probably over 2 years now. And, well, no, it's actually about 2 years. Ed and I have closed a number of mortgages for a lot of different people. I think probably 10 or 15 at this point, for a variety of different people. And I've done it all from my home office. Now, one of the things that I needed to make sure that I had in my home office was a comfortable place to work. Very important in that was getting one of the elevated desks that move up and down. Now, Elizabeth, how much can somebody expect to pay for a good one of those desks? And remember, we're talking, well, there's two different kinds. There's the kind you get from Staples, and then there's the kind that an institutional office supply provider will provide. What's the difference in price, and what's the difference in quality?
The difference in quality is sometimes without contract furniture, you don't get the commercial furniture or just sturdiness. It has a different value. It's not like you get the laminate that you get at IKEA. I keep saying because it's a good example. You get something that actually has a warranty to it, a long-term warranty. So if the motor gets damaged, if something happens with the desk, good luck getting it replaced. If you've ordered it online, it's very hard to get the product in for the replacement. So as far as a height adjustable desk price point, if you're finding it online, it can maybe cost $1,000. That's pretty typical.
Well, I've seen them cheap. And when they're cheap, I don't know that they come with a guarantee. I don't know that they come with the components that I need. I don't know if it's going to come at all, quite frankly. I think it's very important to have somebody that is stewarding you through the process.
Yeah, it would be good. A lot of people just don't know how it all works out, and they're trying to do it themselves. And so they're trying to place an order for something, but ultimately get lost in translation because they don't know what they need. And they're looking for the, I would say, most affordable solution, but sometimes the most affordable solution isn't the right solution. So having a professional that is in the industry that understands, can provide you a quote, come in and install it for you properly, that makes a big difference.
Now, I also found that having somebody that guided me through the process was very important. And even though the person didn't get it right, they still worked hard to make sure that the different components matched. Now, what I found was that as you're going through the catalog, you think that the stuff is going to match up. It's all got the same maker. It's all seems like it's all the same SKU, but sometimes it's not. So it's truly important to have somebody work with you that can get all that done correctly.
Yeah, because what we actually do is that we lay it out on a floor plan. And so it's all to scale, and we do 3D renderings, and we give all that to you so that you know exactly what you're getting. You know how it's going to fit in the space, you know what color it is, you know the size and the direction that it needs to have, if you're having something with a return or not, if you're having storage, all those things can get placed into a drawing that will tell you exactly how it would fit in your space.
Now, in the past, my home office has been cherry, you know, deep, dark, thick, but that's like really 1980s. What do you find is the appropriate or the most common color that people pick? High five, Ed. What's the most common color people pick for their home office?
Everybody likes the light oak kind of colors, anything light these days. Yeah, the light oak or like a walnut. Like a dark walnut, so like between those two, but it's the grain of the oak that they like and the grain of that walnut that they like. That's very popular. It's a lot of our requests are with that light oak or that walnut color.
Yeah, my wife really liked the light colored stuff. Ed, your computer's working. Get in here. Look at that. You don't know how to do a computer, but you can do a darn good mortgage. Here's Ed Cairo. Ed's my partner in the mortgage business. We're all cracking up because it took him like 20 minutes to get on. And yeah, we got Elizabeth on, so you look good, Ed.
There you go.
So, Eddie, how long you been doing mortgages? How long you and the brothers been doing mortgages?
Oh, about 25 years. We're relatively new.
Tell about your team. I call it the brothers, but tell me about your background and your two brothers.
Well, we've been at this the mortgage business for, like I said, 25 years, and I've got an older brother, Paul, a younger brother, Greg. We call ourselves the Mortgage Brothers, and I pretty much take on the loans when they come in. I structure them. Greg is the middle guy. He does all the processing, and Paul is the closer. So we have a nice little loop there that can't be broken, so to speak.
You know, people think that it's really easy. The reality is that it's not. You need the people on the team. You've got one of your brothers is an MBA, the other's a lawyer, right?
Yeah, not a lawyer, but the other one of them is definitely an MBA. Yes, correct. And
okay, I always thought he was a lawyer. That's because he's always talking to me about the legal aspects.
Yeah, he professes to be, but he's not. He's not a lawyer.
Yeah, he stayed at Holiday Inn Express, right?
That's it.
So you know, it's been really interesting. About 3 weeks ago, something happened in the business where one day people weren't qualified, and then the next day it seemed like the entire floodgates opened. What happened, Ed?
Well, I mean, it just we're in a raised rate environment right now, so the rates are starting to go up. People are starting to realize that people are panicking, which they don't need to. But there's a lot of new products that have come out on the market of late, and the market's opened up. I mean, we can do a lot of things that we couldn't do before. The the government has dropped some of the requirements for self-employed borrowers. They used to require P&L and the last 3 months bank statements just to verify that they're maintaining their income as they did the year before. They now dropped that. So things are starting to open up in our business a little bit, and we're able to do loans that we couldn't do before.
You know, so one of the reasons that I think that that's happening is all the big public mortgage companies, they have lobbyists. And when their volume went down, they had to expand what they were able to do so that they could keep their volume up and keep their stock price up. So I really think that while we are in an increasing rate environment, I think that you're going to see more mortgages made in March than you did in February, than you did in January, even though the pool of qualified borrowers is thinner and there are fewer and fewer resales, which is a completely different topic for another day.
For another day, yeah. You've got a ton of people that are pre-qualified, and that's the other problem. We just can't find properties for these people. And, there's that whole bidding war, and, they're dropping appraisals, and they're doing a lot of things that are pretty tough. I had a realtor that was pushing one of my clients to do a 7-day mortgage contingency. And when it came to me, I said, absolutely not. We're not doing that. Because number one, I don't even think I'm going to get an appraisal back sometimes that fast, including title and everything else. And the point was that it was really protecting her, and she didn't realize that the realtor basically just wanted to make money, and he really didn't care about his client. So I stopped that. As a matter of fact, we lost that realtor, and she acquired another realtor on my recommendation, who did a 30-day, mortgage contingency just in case. I mean, it's like $1 million home. Can't play around with that. It was way too much money.
Now, Ed, what is the basic range, the upward level where you can go and you can still get a bank loan? People think that if they're not bankable, or Bank of America or Chase says that they're not bankable, that they're out of luck. That's just not true. There's lots of good bankers, federally insured institutions that we can go to that are a little bit more flexible than somebody's depository relationship. Talk a little bit about the kind of banks that you bring these mortgages to in general.
Well, basically, there's a lot of these mortgage banks that a lot of people haven't heard of, but there's some products that they have, and they're what they call portfolio, a lot of these loans, so they'll hold it themselves. They're not selling it to Fannie or Freddie or anything like that. So their guidelines are a little bit lighter than it would be, let's say, on secondary market when it comes to Fannie and Freddie. So we do loans, like, as an example, there are certain people that just don't show enough income, although they make a lot of income. Part of it could be, let's say, the spouse doesn't have great credit, can't go on the mortgage, but they definitely bring the income in. There's all kinds of reasons. So we'll take 12 months bank statements, and we'll use that income, wherever the deposits are. If it's a business bank statement, we use like a 50% or sometimes 60% expense ratio. So 50% of the income that comes in, we allow that as their income, and we can do that at 75, 80% depending on the credit score. So that saves deals left and right. That's one of them. There's another one we have that's just a straight P&L, not audited, straight P&L. And if the P&L is making money, they're making money. We can go at 75%, 25% down. We get people the house. In a lot of cases, I have to say that, most people, in the old days, they used to call them liar loans, right? You don't put any income and all this stuff. And here are these people that, work in a small job and they're buying houses for $1 million. That, I can tell you, we don't do. We'll pre-qualify these people, and we have to make sure that they really, truly can pay this thing back. If they're going to take on a loan, the problem is the houses are so expensive that, they thought they were qualifying for $300. By the time they're in the market, it's now $500 because that's what's out there. And they're trying to get the house. You really have to look at this and decide whether this is something that you're comfortable with for this client. And they have to understand it too. They have to make that mortgage payment every month.
Ed, we're going to take a break. We're going to come right back. But I think that Ed just showed that American Home Finance really takes its commitment to its clients very seriously. One of the problems in the pre-Lehman Brothers period with all the BS loans that were made was that people just allowed them to go into everything. And at American Home Finance, we actually act as financial advisors, and sometimes we'll step away if somebody's doing something that we just think is hurtful to them. All right, Eddie. Eddie said high five on that. Thank you, Ed. You see, you taught me right. Mr. Mendoza, let's take a break. And while we're doing that, Ed, start writing down your ideas for the ad we're going to make. All right, here we are. We're having a great show about office equipment, office furniture, and then we have a technical problem. I think we should just leave it as it is and let it stay stable, and then we can go sell Ed a new mic in the future. The other thing that if you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar. They're all exceptional cars, and they all come with the Warren Henry advantage, as do the cars they sell up in Gainesville, which happen to be Audis, and the cars that they sell in the Keys, which happen to be everything. They all are great cars, and they all come with the Warren Henry advantage, which is a suite of services, a whole bunch of things that you get when you buy your car. Of course, you get the free loaner. If your car's in the shop, you get to work with Maytel Stark. She's tremendous. You lose your keys, they'll replace them. You scratch up your rims, they'll help you polish them up. You want to make sure you get your best price for the trade-in? You will. Want that best price guarantee that you're getting for the new car? You will. And if you don't like your car in 3 days, you can return it. All those great things are parts of the Warren Henry advantage. Join me, my mom, my beautiful wife, Vivian, lots and lots of my friends. We just got this brand new QX60 from them. We love it. Thank you, Diego. Boom. Remember, always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry.
Carlson from Carlson Integrated. You know, a lot of our clients find that they can do anything, but not really everything. We are always excited to jump in and help. So whether you need another set of hands for a project or even comprehensive marketing management, our team of marketing mavens would love to have a conversation with you to see if we are the right fit. We do everything from logo and design work to email outreach and social media to writing and thought leadership. And here's a fun one. We are now offering our fabulous ebook of top 10 marketing tips on our website for free. So head over to carlsonintegrated.com and grab a copy today. And please always let us know how we can help. My email is Becca, that's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com. That's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com.
Does great work for me and Ed. She helps us put our flyers together. She's so tremendous, and I got to say it this way, I've actually never met her in person before. She just gives such great energy. You know who else gives great energy? I think you know by now. That's me. Hey, if you're a family or a real estate operating company or an investor, you're looking to get into the market, or you need some capital or need some ideas, or just need a little bit of somebody to give you some advice and help you through the path, give me a call. We work with families all the time. I met with a patriarch earlier today, one of the big families, and one of the employees of one of the big New York construction companies are working a whole bunch of deals together. In that case, pref equity, development equity, stretch mortgage, all on the table. With Ed, you hear me talking about all the creative residential solutions we have. In the next segment, we'll talk about, in general, some of the people that we've been working with, because guess what? They're just like you. So give me a call or reach out to me or DM me. Why? You already know. Because when you call me, it's always, and I mean always, all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
Do we ever do Clubhouse anymore? I was watching this show where they talked about things that were passé, and Clubhouse was the first thing they mentioned, something that came and went. It was like one of those internet passage things. Hey, Eddie, you still there?
I'm here.
There he is. Elizabeth, you can come on too. Don't be shy. There you go. All right. Now, Eddie, I want to talk a little bit about some of the people that we've been doing loans for, not specifically, but in general. Okay, one is an attorney. The attorney had really great equity in the house, but didn't have such great credit and didn't have steady income. How did you handle that?
So that particular loan was a very large loan, as a matter of fact. And when we analyzed his tax returns and some of the documents, we realized that there was declining income, and that's kind of a no-no in our business. If over the last 3 years, if your income has been declining, there are very few banks that will even give you a loan. So what we did was we analyzed the bank statements, and in that case, there was still some issues that we felt that we didn't want to address. So there's a program that brand new actually for a residential property where I can take a P&L, and it's an unaudited P&L. And as long as the P&L is positive, which it is in this case, in this particular business, then we were able to get them approved. So that particular gentleman is approved.
So that's one of the jumbo loans. Let's talk about one of the Fannie Freddie conforming loans. We just did something for, I just got to say it, one of my development clients, water sports instructors. How'd you pull that off?
Oh, yeah, that was interesting. That loan, first of all, I think we dealt with him for about 6 months, and he went through probably 6 or 7 houses that he just tried to buy, and there were all kinds of trouble. It was in Miami. There was all repair problems and all that. So we finally found a house, and he was going to buy this house as an investment property, which is a whole different set of guidelines. In the end, he decided to buy it and move into it and whatever. But the bottom line there was we had a problem with the electrical service, so he couldn't get insurance. There was some roof problems. We found an insurance company that allowed him to buy the house and then repair the electrical problem within 30 days. And that was taken care of. We just closed them yesterday. And then he went out of the country at the last minute, so we had to do a POA, a power of attorney. So that was a whole nother, that was kind of laid on us at the last minute. So we had him sign some documents where he out of the country in order to do this. So it was very complicated. But the bottom line was everybody was happy, the realtors and him and everybody included. It was a good effort. And we worked together as a team, truthfully, with the title company and everybody else. It was great.
And everybody works as a team at American Home Finance. Now, let me ask you this. I had my billionaire client from overseas. He calls home and gets himself millions and millions of dollars whenever he wants. He's totally not financeable because it doesn't come in on a systematic basis. However, he's divorced. And he's been paying on that divorce decree on a regular basis. Ed, how'd you help his daughter get financed?
Yes. As a matter of fact, we used her mother, as a non-occupant co-borrower, and because the mother was getting the money from the father and was coming into her, then we put her on as a co-borrower. We were able to get this young lady financed in a nice big house. It was beautiful, very, very nice.
Gorgeous. Now, one of my favorites that we did was one of our first. We had a public servant. He had his home. That's the guy we did for $400,000 out in Broward County, and he was perfect at the trough of the pandemic. How low was that guy's rate?
Oh, that one. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that guy.
That's right. As a matter of fact, he was. Oh my God, he was. Let's see. That was over $1 million, and I think we had him under 3%. I think we had him on a jumbo, cash out jumbo.
Yeah. And how about the leasing agent? We got the big fancy guy who does all the leasing. He hit the ball out of the park last year, but he doesn't get W-2. What'd you do for him? Another super jumbo.
Yeah. Right. That particular one. Let's see. On that one, that was
Cairo war stories. I love this.
It's funny because he brings up these things that I'm trying to, without saying the names, I'm trying to figure out which ones we're talking about. But I should have
previewed you who it is, but I give you the fact pattern. You know who it is. Every one of these is unique because they're all you see, what I'm trying to get to is they're all unique, and you and your brothers craft them.
Yeah.
And you act as financial advisors, really, not as some BS thing in somebody's continuing ed. And you follow the rules. We've thrown out people that wanted to fudge. I know we have.
Right. No, we don't. We that's one thing we won't do is cross any lines, and we do follow all the rules. We've been licensed for a long time, and we're not going to ever jeopardize our license over one loan. That would never happen. But I can tell you that, as an example, I'll give you a very good that you don't even know about. There's a guy who works for, let's just say he works for the government. So the income that he has is not really shown anywhere. So here's a guy who...
I have one of those too.
Yeah, credit score is a little low and whatever. So I've been working with him now for 2 years. And I have a credit repair person repairing his credit. So now his scores are up to 1 point to where it needs to be. I need 1 more point, and we're going to get this guy done. and we're going to do a P&L.
Tell them to pay that final credit card off another $100, Ed.
That's what it is, and that's what we're working on right now. But we'll actually be able to get him a loan. The money comes in from, let's just say, the government, and it's not anywhere. It's not showing. So let's just say that, and that's typical. I mean, there's a lot of things like this that happen, and you got to be able to structure these things. But the one thing I'm going to tell you is that, we'll analyze these loans. We don't turn them down right off the bat. There's always a way, and if there's not a way, we'll instruct them as to what to do. If they have to rent for a year or whatever, until we can get them to the point that they can get a loan. Home ownership is a big deal for everybody, for their families, and these are people with families and kids and all these. So we work very hard to try to really look. A lot of times people are just like, oh, no, we can't do it. It's over. I don't look at it that way. Maybe we can't do it right this second, but if you do these things, we'll get you done in 6 months, a year, whatever. And they tend to follow. I mean, they'll listen to you for the most part, most clients. And it's, Jim, the rewards are tremendous when they close, like this type of the guy we talked about the other day. Tremendous.
Look, Eddie, it's part of the reason we work together. It's because when they call Ed Cairo, he makes sure that it's all about them. And that's the same reason we brought Elizabeth on, because Elizabeth's reputation in the market is that when you call her, she makes sure it's all about you. And then we're going to demonstrate that with her working with me. And then we're going to talk about it. And that's sort of what I'd like to do here, bringing the show together. I wanted to thank Ed. I wanted to thank Elizabeth. I'm going to thank Mr. Mendoza. I don't think I ever thank you. Do I thank you, Mr. Mendoza? I'm doing it today. High five to you and Rebecca. Because they help me look good. And they help me feel good. And working with Eddie, we do good. And that's what really it's all about. So, remember, I want to thank our sponsors. I'm going to say, Eddie, you're a sponsor, American Home Finance. I want to thank Warren Henry Automotive, UF Center for Bergstrom Studies. They're going to have their big conference next week. I'm still trying to get across the finish line to go emotionally. Don't know that I'm going to get there, but I'm still trying. And bring a lot of these. And no, that's a mask. It looked like a diaper. And remember, the person that wants to do something finds a way. The other finds an excuse. Now go out there, make it happen. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America. Mr. Mendoza, the rest is yours.